Many thanks for staying tuned. It's still the conversation here on Lagos Television. In a matter of days, it will be 2 years officially that this administration has been on board. And today on the program, we'd like to take a look at the agricultural sector. Agric sector in the 2 years of the life of this administration. How has that sector fared since President Bola Tinubu became the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria? I would also like to take a look at some of the gains and perhaps a leap into what the, especially the Minister of Agriculture, should consolidate on in years to come. We have a guest in the studio this morning. He is an agri consultant to the Ogun State Governor and the MD Bama Farms. Join us as a welcome Wale Oyekoye on the program today. Thank you for being here on the program today.
And thanks for having me.
Right, let's start this way. It's been 2 years that Mr. President came on board, and we can say that there has been quite a bit of improvement in the agri sector. But for you, as someone who is a stakeholder and a player in that industry, if you were to summarize some of the gains of this administration, what would those gains be?
Yeah, once again, thanks for having me. I believe the president have come with a vision.
Okay.
And also with a mission on how to improve the agricultural sector. In fact, the last 2 years, we have never even seen such an improvement since the time I've been in farming for over 17 years now. Right from the time of Obasanjo, Goodluck, Jonathan, Yar'Adua, all of them, including Buhari. I think these last 2 years, farmers have enjoyed so much endorsement from Mr. President, and Mr. President have really come to really commit himself to make sure that agriculture is being modernized, which is what we have been talking about: mechanization, modernization, how to bring so many machineries, inputs, so that the output could be increased. So there's no doubt about it, Mr. President, under his watch or under his New Hope agricultural agenda, we have seen so many improvements.
Okay, Mr. Ikoya, quickly just to stay on that. Now, is this would this be the view of farmers across Nigeria, or would this be the view of farmers across a region of the Federation?
I believe it's across the whole nation, because anywhere you go to, all the 6 geopolitical zones you go to, there's improvement of agriculture, especially in the north. There have been a lot of improvement, not only in the northeast, northwest, even in the southwest. You remember one time we discussed here that it's about time for the state governors to go back to get involved. And you can see that Mr. President listening and give the directive. So the man is listening to people that really matters. That feel that the country should be able to move forward, not just the sycophant that just surrounded him. He listened to the outside voice. And we thank God that he's doing that. You remember one time also that we said that with the situation in the country now, they should be able to allow paddy rice to come to the country in order to ease the poverty level and the burden on the citizens. And he did that. And that is why you can see the Lagos State government also are improving on their rice paddy in terms of production. With the rice mill they have in Imota, it's being utilized. So definitely we have to give the kudos to Mr. President for listening. And also, he cannot do it alone without the effort and the support of the state governors. So I believe all the state governors, with the directive that the president have given to them, everybody have buckled up. In every state now, you see that a lot of machineries are being rolled out, either the input, either the tractors or the shredder, the planter, the harvesters. In all the states, I can testify to that one.
Okay, if you say that we have witnessed some improvement in the agricultural sector and the farmers have benefited so much from the renewed hope agenda of Mr. President when it comes to the agri sector, would you give us the specific as to what Mr. President has done and the interventions that we have had farmers enjoy?
Well, they always say, go to the market, you see how the government is working. I'm one of the opinion of people that, hey, we keep on saying the agricultural sector is moving forward in the country, but look at the prices in the market. If you look at the price of rice as of last year to this time, definitely you see the difference. You can buy a bag of rice now for about 60-something thousand in the market, unlike this time of last year, it's rolling out to about 100,000. This is part of the initiative of Mr. President when he gave us a palliatives to most of the citizens, rolling out thousands of tons of rice to be given out to most of these, not even the the citizens, even to the people in the IDP. Because I remember so many trailers of rice went to so many states, especially during the Ramadan period when people are fasting. That's when the prices of rice went down. And even recently, some farmers even approached me that they wanted to sell their rice for 55,000 naira. I was even telling them, oh, the federal government is selling for 40,000. Why do I have to buy from you for 55,000? So the competition is there between the growers and the government. Because the government is mopping up, which is what we always talk about here, that when the farmers produce, the government should be there to mop up so that the post-harvest loss will be reduced. So we can see that happening now. Even the basket of tomatoes, if you go to the market now, have really gone down. Yes, some people will say, yes, the food is there, but the citizens cannot afford it. It's a global problem. Even if you go to America today, the apple that you used to get like maybe $4 for $1.99, you can never get it for $1.99, maybe like $4.99 or $5.99. It's all over the world. And not only that, people will say, why people cannot afford the food? Well, there are so many factors to it. Because when the farmers produce, and you have a lot of harvest, definitely it's going to bring down the price of the foodstuffs. And what happens after it? Are people adding value to it? Yes, people are adding value to it now. If you go to the market now, you see so many packages of rice, beans, gari being packaged. That's what they call value chain. So Mr. President is also working on the value chain, not just producing, but add value. That way, most of the youth will be able to go into the value chain and exporting some of this food. You can see that our exportation of most of our foods now have really increased. That way, we're diversifying from mono economy we have in the oil now into agricultural sector, into the non-oil sector. So this is part of the achievement of Mr. President on the Renewed Hope agenda.
Right, so one of the things that Mr. President also promised at the beginning of this administration will be the fact that there's the need to expand the percentage of arable land in Nigeria, which already currently stands at 35% to 65%. Do you know if, there is a move towards that, and are we still currently at 35, or is there a little increment towards the 65% which Mr. President promised, although he did say that would happen in the course of his 4-year term?
Definitely there have been a lot of improvement. Because when you have machineries, when you have bulldozers that open the farmland, then that way a lot of farmers will be able to move in. And that is when you see most of these states bringing their tractor, because without the bulldozer to clear the land, there's nothing the tractor could do. It's going to mess up the teeth of the tractors. So definitely it's more than 35% with my own knowledge and talking about with farmers all over the state, that there have been a lot of improvement in terms of clearing of the lands, opening the virgin lands, and the state government supporting the federal government. I think it has been very awesome for both the state and the federal government working hand in hand together to make sure that the food security in the country is achieved. Not only that, when you talk of food security, without the security in the land, there's nothing the food security, because a lot of farmers now have been trying to go back to the farm, unlike about 3-4 years ago, where most of the farmers just neglected their farm because of the headers and the farmers' clashes, attacks here, attacks there. All those have been reduced, and you can see what the Mr. President is really doing. He gave the marching order to the Minister of Security.
The NSA,
the National Security.
The National Security. Give them a marching order that he wants all these people to be crushed, no matter what it's going to take. And not just talking, he matched the talk with actions. And you can see all over most of even in Borno, I give it to the Borno State Governor also.
Governor Zulu.
Yes, Governor Zulu. He went by himself to where the Boko Harams are really taking over. He said, this is my state. He went there by himself, and you can see the military, they're really working. So this is part of the security being given to the farmers, and by so doing, the food security in the country is really improving by a lot of margins.
Okay, let's talk about the creation of Ministry of Livestock Development. What has been the impact of this ministry, and are they significant enough for Nigerians to feel the impact?
Well, it's like a work in progress. Though the ministry has been established, it has come to stay. And at the same time, it's part of the security measures where most of these headers are roaming about their cattle all over. It's just a way of Mr. President telling them that I don't want to see all these cow roaming about? Why can't they stay in a place, in the ranches? So that is the modality they are working out now. Yes, to me, it's a very good development for us to have a livestock department or ministry, as it is so called. And believe me honestly, it's really going to improve the protein intake of the nation, or either the make or the mate. Because by the time you have that section being sectionalized and at the same time coming to stay, there's going to be a lot of improvement in terms of meat productions. And it's a welcome idea to most of the farmers. See, livestock does not even stay in the cattle alone. It comprises poultry, piggery, fishery. It's cut across all kind of meat productions.
Okay, right. Let's quickly also talk about, I know that many times on this program you've talked about mechanization, seed distribution. You've also mentioned those this morning. Let's add access to credit for smallholder farmers into that. How has this improved under this administration? And then you link that up with how the states have also taken ownership of ensuring that issues around mechanized farming is also consolidated on, because I know that there was a time you were here and you really mentioned on the facts that this is where states could also start collaborating. If a state cannot handle certain things and you have a neighboring state that can do that, can you come together and provide these mechanized bulldozers and all of those for your farmers to access to clear their land? So where are we, not only as a country now, but the state governors themselves, especially the Southwest governors? I know there's the Dawn Commission, there is the synergy that they're having together. So where are we when it comes to collaboration state by state?
I believe the collaboration is in a very top gear, especially in the Southwest, because we cannot keep on depending on the northern part of the country to supply us.
Right.
Not that we don't have the land. Our land is even more suitable than their own, that even whenever it rains, we can still manage our arable land here. Okay. But over there is always a disaster. But with the fact that it's a disaster there, they are still managing it. And that is why Mr. President said that gone are the days that Nigeria are going to be rain-fed nations. Either there's rain or there's no rain. With the irrigation that the federal government is rolling out, this is part of the input that the federal government is rolling out to the state government. Okay. And I believe the collaboration between states, especially in the Southwest, is in a very top gear, because the commissioners of agriculture in the Southwest, they always meet time to time in order to meet up the demands of their citizens. And with the governors, giving them the marching order that, listen, we are getting hammered by the president. So definitely the governor have to hammer on the commissioners of agriculture also. So the collaboration is going very well, but they need to learn more from the North, because they are more together, more collaborative, and that is why I see most of the incentives, most of the machinery is going to the North, because they are very committed. We in the South need to be more committed. It's not blaming the government. What about us? Are we even ready to make the changes? Are we ready? Because Nigeria now is like a moving train with the renewed hope of Mr. President. It's either you run to catch the train or you left behind. So that is what I believe Mr. President is doing, that I'm not going to wait for any one of you. We are going to have a marching order that every state should go back to their state and employ their youth and produce food. By the time you're able to feed your citizens, there will be less riot over there.
Okay. Agric business, like we know, is capital intensive. And I remember that Mr. President was in Katsina State recently, where he promised to revitalize the Bank of Agriculture so that farmers can have access to funds. How far has he gone with these? Are there any significant impact that this bank is actually, or support rather, that this bank is actually giving to farmers in terms of access to funds?
Well, it's recently he just appointed the MD and the Executive Director for the Bank of Agriculture. Because, Bank of Agriculture are the one that have to deal with farmers directly. Either you just got a virgin land, go to the Bank of Agriculture. That is their work. That is their mandate, to be able to support farmers. Either the money to till the ground, to hire the tractors, and at the same time with the inputs. Because without the input, you cannot just clear the land if you don't have any input to plant. So this way, the Bank of Agriculture are there for farmers. It's two different things. Bank of Agriculture, they tender they tend to the farmers when you just want to start your farming. Bank of Industry, they are only meant for the valuation, like maybe we wanted to buy equipment to process some of your farm produce into the last option to sell it out or to export it out. So it's two different things. But now that we have the MD for the Bank of Agriculture and MD to Bank of Industry, I think the agricultural sector is good to go. And there's no more excuses because Mr. President already said that he's going to fund these two sectors. These two agencies, the Bank of Agriculture and Bank of Industry. And don't forget, there are so many other interventions also from the CBN that come directly from the CBN, either through the Commercial Agricultural Credit Scheme and now they will just have a new MD also for the NAIC, National Agricultural Incentive Scheme, to support the farmers whenever they have crisis, because crisis is bound to happen in the agricultural sector, either through the poultry or through the plant when there's flooding. So this is where the insurance will come in. So the federal insurance, which have been created by the federal government, is also there to support the farmer should in case there's any loss.
Okay, but before now, how do you access all these funds? Are there obstructions before you get access to these funds? And what are those amendments that you would like to see now that we have new men on board?
The rules still remain the same. What you need to do, walk into any Bank of Agriculture, they have it all over. In Lagos State alone, I think they have about 3 or 4. I think they have in Ekwe, they have along Kuruduro, they have in Badagry. You can just walk in with your proposals, with what you have, with your outline that this is my outline of what I wanted to do into agriculture, and they will send their representatives to come to the farm. And they will support you up to the harvest time. But you just have to present your proposal to them that this is what we wanted to, and how you are going to pay back. One thing with the Bank of Agriculture is that you must have about 20% of the amount that you need from them in the bank, and with 2 guarantors. They will give you the loan, maybe 5 million, 10 million. These are just for the small scale farmers. Because when you are talking of large scale farmers, then that is why the CBN comes in or the commercial banks comes in.
Okay, so I mean, just adding to this question would also be the role of the commodity board, which Mr. President has also graciously created. What is that adding to all of the gains in the agriculture sector?
There's a lot to be gained in this, just about price control. If you look at what is happening out there, and everybody just bring their goods to the market with no control. And that's why you have all this commodity trading agency to be able to control, to be able to monitor what is really coming out of the farm and how it's being sold, and hopefully they are not taking advantage
of the buyers.
But
is this really having an effect?
Well, you know, anything in Nigeria, implementation is the key. The president has gave out his own marching order. It's left for the agency, for the people working under it, to be able to implement the order of Mr. President. Okay. Not only in the presidency, it's all over the states.
Right.
The state have got their own commodity board, right. And the federal oversees all the states. So definitely, by the time we started talking like this, because I believe Mr. President is really listening to whatever we are discussing, and is going to call all these agencies that, wait a minute, we set up this thing.
What are you doing?
What are you doing about it? So that the consumer does not get changed.
Okay, right. This is the first time in so many years that the agriculture sector would get a huge budget from the federal ministry. Sure. You did mention that earlier on. I mean, if taking a cue from 2023, 2024, between 2024 and 2025 is about almost 400 billion difference that we do have here. How do we ensure that this is institutionalized or is stable, so that we also do not have a retrogression from where we are at the moment, knowing that food security is really very important in every country?
I'm always an advocate of consistencies and sustainability. Maputo Agreement say any nation in Africa should set aside 10% of their budget to agricultural sector in order to be able to feed their citizens. And this is the largest budget so far this year that I could say since I have been in agriculture, that we have close to 1 trillion naira of a budget. 826, yeah, close to 1 trillion, minus or plus. And when I look at the aggregate, it's still less than 2%.
Yes, it's about 1.7%.
About 1.7%. So, like Oliver Twist, we keep on asking more. Mr. President have tried his best to increase the budget, but even if they cannot get up to 10%, if it is just half of that or 5%, it's going to get a long way. That way there'll be more money for farmers to be able to produce, to be able to process, to be able to export, and at the same time to be able to make sure that there's enough food on the table
citizens.
of average Nigerians.
Right.
So Mr. President is trying, but we just want him to try more. Almost $1 trillion to feed over 200 million people is still a little bit low.
Okay.
Low.
Earlier, you raised something very, very important, that we have different policies in this country, but it's always implementation that is always our problem. And Abimbola just quoted a particular figure now, which is an improvement as regards the funding of the agric sector. What are those things that we need to put in place to ensure that this particular fund are properly channeled in such a way that it will reflect the renewed hope agenda of Mr. President and ensure that we have food security in the country?
I believe there should be a monitoring team. You have to remember that out of this budget, some of them will go into recurrent expenditures, some of them will go to capital expenditures. Why should recurrent expenditure be taking more
than capital?
So this is where the monitoring from the federal agency need to come in. Because if you spend all this money buying utility vehicles, all these new vehicles that we don't need for the staff, then how much is coming to the real farmers to be able to say, okay, we are able to get this thing from the federal government and we are going to utilize this amount of money. So there should be a monitoring team, not just giving money to the agency or to the ministries, but there must be some agency that monitor them to make sure that there's an accountability. Because without accountability, any minister could just, oh yeah, this is big money, and divide the money for something else. And we have to remember, election time is at the corner. So everybody will be looking for money for election. So this is why Mr. President needs to be very careful in order not to spoil the good name, the good agenda, the good program they already have on the table.
In addition to what Jibola asked, now food inflation is usually the highest, even when we come to number of inflations. So how do we also ensure that as a country, now talking about some of the things that we need to consolidate on, how do we ensure that issues around food inflation at least is well regulated, if not too high for the country to control, but at least is on a level where most times is not a burden on the national inflation rate?
Well, the food inflation rate, you could see that it's coming down.
It is coming down.
It is really coming down, though it's still very high.
Right.
But it's still coming down, and it's about the law of demand and supplies. If we're able to produce more and put money into the citizens' pocket,
right,
the inflation rate will be able to come down because employment will be high. Because once people are able to be gainfully employed and they get food to eat before going to the office, and to me, the inflation rate will come down. And the CBNC have a lot to do. All these MPR that never come down but going up. The president need to checkmate. Though it's good the way they are doing it, so there will be not too much money to stabilize the naira, so that there won't be too much money in circulations. And they are trying to discourage people keeping money at home. Or in their backyard or in their tank, as some people always do. So if all these things could be taken into cognizance, definitely the inflation rate will come down naturally.
Right.
All right. Mr. President cannot work in isolation. Yes, and you have cited the need for governors to also brace up. Mr. President, of course, challenged them. As Nigerians ourselves, what are those things that we might need to do to also consolidate on some of the agenda of Mr. President in this agric sector so that food will not be a problem for an average family in the country?
Sure. The best is to have faith in our Mr. President. And you give credit to who credit is due. Because as I said, the last 2 years, we have never seen it right in terms of agriculture in this country for the past 2 years. With how much the Mr. President is rolling out, with all the incentives given out, yes, as you say, he cannot work in isolation. That is why he embraced all the state governors that, listen, we have a task ahead of us. How can we do it together? And I believe that all the governors are cooperating, either the PDP, Labour Party, or APC, they are cooperating with Mr. President. You can see how many of the state governors are even, will I call it Japa from PDP to APC nowadays? But it's very common now. You just wake up to the following morning. If you don't decamp to APC, everybody, you leave my cabinet. So this is part of a collaboration. If Mr. President have not been doing the right thing, all these governors will not be saying they are going to
other parties
to other parties, to
party.
APC, because everybody want a winning team. APC, I'm not, this government, let me put it this government, I won't say APC, because this government is not made by APC alone. Let us get it right. Because APC is there, APDP there, Labour Party is there. So if this government is not doing right, most of these governors will not say that they are migrating to this government to be part of the success. As I said, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed, it's like a moving train. And if you don't really run to catch it, he will choose another person.
My question is this. As Nigerians ourselves, what are those things that we can do to support Mr. President in terms of farming?
That's what I said, to have faith in Mr. President and to believe in him.
Can we start farming locally or in a small way by ourselves?
You know, we already said it several times, what we call family farming. You know, we said the backyard farming is family farming. Let every individual, especially the civil servant, it's allowed in the law. It's allowed in the civil
rule.
Yes, it's allowed to go into farming. All what they need, all what the state needs to do is to apportion a little place for them. Yes, if it is 1 plot or 2 plots, come and give us your scorecard on what you are able to achieve. From there, people will develop interest in agric business instead of agric hobby. People take it as a hobby, but it's a business. Right. People take it as a business. And the same thing I say, even right from the secondary school, from the primary school, let us encourage our children so that by the time they get older, they'll be able to have interest in agric business instead of saying, everything should not be go to the market, go and buy. What about we? We could make impact, as you have said. A lot of us have backyard. If it is a way do, this is the rainy season. Ordinary maize you plant within 2.5 months to 3 months, you will harvest it. The same thing with okra. Within 2 months, you will harvest it. If we do the same thing, it's something that we can do. And it's very fascinating. To me, I love agriculture. Because for you planting something and you see it coming out and you're able to feed your nucleus family, then you take the rest to the community market and people will buy it. So individuals also must have interest in agriculture. And we have no choice. If you have interest in agriculture, some people come to me, I have my phone, what can I do with phone? Then you can do a lot of with your phone, either through the marketing or some of the farm produce. You don't have to go into farming. Go to some of these farmers, buy their produce, upload it into your page, and people will be buying, just like all this telemarketing that we have now.
Online trading.
Online trading. That is where the online trading will start. So don't just be making use of your iPhone into WhatsApp or all this TikTok.
There are other things that
to make money for yourself.
We even have an Awedu farm over there.
Exactly.
So, let's quickly, as you know, just again with what Jibola said, that what can we do as individuals? Let's also look at how can state governments or governors also lure young people into agriculture. There's so many things that technology is also doing with agriculture. You mentioned one area now, but how can governors also make agriculture more lucrative or more inviting to the younger generation so that they also can come in and then together can be part of the renewed hope agenda in agriculture? Again, Mr. President will not come down from Abuja to do this. We know that the governors are closer to the people. So how do we, as government, especially, or the local government chairman, also look at luring younger people into farming and agribusiness generally?
You have to understand that farming is local. Just like they say, politics is local. So now this is the best time for us to make use of all these local government chairmen. Okay. Because the lands is in their custody, it's in their domain. Though the governors have direct control over it, but they can release it to the local government that go and do farming. Okay. And if you look at most of these youths, they are in the local government. When the election time comes, that's when you see them campaigning. So this is the best time for the governors to say, okay, if these people are campaigning for me, everybody cannot get contract from the state government, from the federal government. So empower them through the local government chairman to give them power, give them incentive, give them machineries, give them all these modern tools. Because without modern tools, we are wasting our time. Most of these youth will not go into farming. But some states are really doing it. Even in Lagos, if you look at Araga, it's meant for the youth.
Right.
But sometimes they even find it difficult to get used to feel it. Other people from other states
would come in to
will
take
come
advantage.
in to take advantage. What happened to the Lagosians? What happened to the people living in Ekpe, Ikorodu, Badagry? You said there's no job, but the government is calling you, come and tap into this. The same thing in Ogun State. There was a time that we are looking for youth to come and embrace agriculture. They spend money to recruit these people, to educate them. Before you know it, all of them have already japa. Half of them already japa out of the state. Now we are looking for other people now
to fill
the position.
Right.
So not that the government is not trying its best. They will not just come from their office and be picking them from the street. We, as you said, we have to convince ourselves that are we ready for these changes of New Hope agenda for Mr. President.
All right. So with these, how would I call it? With this momentum of Mr. President in the agri sector, how hopeful are you that at the end of his first term, in terms of food security, at least we would have improved? If things should continue this way.
They always say morning shows the day, as boyhood shows the manhood. The man already showcased what he have. His mission, that my mission is to make sure that every Nigerians are well fed. That it's not going to rely on mono economy of oil anymore. He already shown it. So by the time he spent another 2 years, so these 2 years, I believe we will have. Right now, the agriculture is employing about 60% of the workforce. By the time this man leave, I believe it's going to jump to about 80 to 85%. That way we'll be able to say, yes, we can export some of our food products that we cannot export before, especially in terms of yam, CCMC, so many things that we can export. Is it our cocoa we are talking about that's one of the best in the world? Or our oil palm that is still the best in the world, though the state governor really work on it so that we can improve on the production. Because our production is very low now compared to Indonesia and other Asian countries.
Right.
How do we also limit what we import?
It's by growing what we eat and eat what we grow. If we can be able to feed, we are able to plant and feed our people, we don't need all this. And most of these food that are being imported to the country are not even good. But we are just managing it because we have no other choice. Right. Our rice, our paddy rice is way better than all these foreign rice that we are talking about. It's way because some of them are over 10 years that they have been packaged. That they be packaged. But our own is fresh. The maximum, last one you see, maybe 1 year. We consume, then we produce again. So definitely we need to embrace what we are producing and eat what we grow and grow what we can eat.
Right. For me, as we wrap up this conversation, one issue that I know that we're still also big on is the issue of climate change. So for farmers, what would be your advice to adhering to instructions and also planning? Because you can't plan for the unforeseen, but sometimes climate change happens and then there are a lot of harvests that are lost and all of that. So how do we also ensure that our farmers are able to get support when things like that happen? Because this has caused many farmers to also lose their lives.
As I said, global change, climate change is a global issue.
Right.
But there's a way we can control our own. And that is why Mr. President have said to have appointed a new MD for the NAIC, which is in insurance.
Okay.
If you look at what is trending recently in Texas, you see so many floods that
and fire.
Yeah, and fire everywhere. So, but they're able to manage the situation. The same thing we can manage what we have. There's nothing the federal government can do on climate change.
Right.
It's the work of the nation. We can only mitigate and at the same time have storage facilities that whatever we harvest during the harvest season, let's keep it for the rainy season.
Okay.
That way, when the climate change, either through the rain, through the flood, or through the fire, it will not adversely affect us that much.
Right. All right. I would have to leave this conversation here this morning. Thank you so much, Mr. Wale Oyekoya, Agric consultant to the Ogun State Governor and MD Bama Farm. So finding time to be with us on the program today. We appreciate your thoughts.
Thank you.
All right, we've been speaking with our guest this morning and of course has traced some of the giant strides this administration has achieved in the last 2 years with a projection into some of the things that this administration as well as Nigerians need to consolidate on in the next 2 years. We do hope that you will be like Adebimpe, who now farms away to Adebimpe, we're expecting harvest too. You need to show us now. Yeah, what?
You need to bring your evidence here.
She needs to bring something for us now. You know,
we need
that.
to see.
We need to see.
Oh, okay.
Okay. We need to actually let our people know that truly you are farming.
Oh, okay.
So that we'll show your harvest.
Okay.
And we will
Is it for my harvest? So I should just do a video of my...
which video? Bring harvest.
Of my...
No, bring harvest.
Of my mini farm.
Pluck harvest and bring harvest. Let us cook and taste it. And let us tell you if truly Oyo, Abikoyo.
Either it's organic or it's organic.
All right, of course, that's it. We'll leave it on this side of the table this morning. And when we return from this break, Adebimpe will be here on her Lagos Conversation.